and live from the basement of the basement here on WCPT 820. It's the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. The whole gang is here. It is the marvelous one, Dan Marver. It's Paul Chivari. It's Devin Tingle. And we appreciate you making us a part of your day. And it is one of the most fun episodes we get to do here on the Sports Cubicle, where we get to preview, break down, and predict the Super Bowl. And this year, there is plenty of storylines, plenty of superstars, plenty of things to get into. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it, because with a regular season record of 15-2 and the number one seed, the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs will take on the record of a 14-3 regular season and the number two seed, the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. So the road so far, how did we get here? The Chiefs beat the number 4 seed, Houston Texans, 23-14 in the divisional round, their first game. And then in the AFC championship game, in a thriller, beat the Buffalo Bills, the number 2 seed, 32-29. For the Philadelphia Eagles, it was a wild card defeat that they had over our hated Green Bay Packers, 22-10, the Packers, the 7th seed. The following week, 28-22 over the number 4 seed, LA Rams. And in the NFC championship, defeating the division rivals 55-23, the number 6 seed, the Washington Commanders. And heading into this game, Super Bowl 57, the Kansas City Chiefs 38, Philadelphia Eagles 35 on February 12th, 2023. That is laying the groundwork for what is Super Bowl 59 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. So there's plenty of things to get into. So before we get into the game itself, excitement level for this matchup between two powerhouses. A lot of people predicted this game earlier on this season. I'll start with you, Paulie. Excitement level for Super Bowl 59.
You know, the game 2 years ago was pretty good, so this one should work out fairly well. And now they got Saquon Barkley having the season of a lifetime. Add that to the mix, and then better defenses this time around. I think we're in for a good Super Bowl. Last year's went to overtime. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one versus 2 years ago.
Marvelous. Excitement level for Super Bowl 59.
You know, to me, the difference is Taylor Swift.
That is the one Taylor Swift reference.
She wasn't there 2 years ago, but in all honesty, I mean, who can bet, if you're a betting man, against the Chiefs? I mean, for the three-peat, that's pretty exciting right there. It never happened before. And the Eagles look pretty strong, too. So, I mean, it should be a pretty good game, all things considered. It's obviously the two best teams right now. So, there you go.
Devin, Super Bowl 59. How excited are you?
I mean, we saw this 2 years ago, and I like seeing different teams there. At least when the Patriots are going back to back, they're facing someone different every time, and they lost some of them. Tom Brady, the only man to beat Patrick Mahomes here. Granted, it would have been nice to see Detroit or Buffalo make the Super Bowl here. But like Paulie said, we are seeing Saquon Barkley having the lifetime season. I think this first season he's ever played all 16 games without getting hurt. So, I mean, a little bit of meh. I mean, there's still that thrill of it's the Super Bowl. But from what I've been seeing lately, I'll get into it later.
So why don't we get into some of the storylines of Super Bowl 59? We already mentioned that this is a rematch. Now, obviously in the NFL, teams move so quickly. There are a lot of the same actors in this play that we're going to see, this sequel. But a big one is Saquon Barkley being added to this team. In the 58 years, I want you guys to take this down. I know you're going to hear it over and over again. This is interesting. In the 58 Super Bowls to date, the Chiefs have a shot to be the first in the NFL history to win 3 in a row. By the way, 3-peat is copyrighted by Pat Riley for all you kids on TikTok. In case you didn't know that, Pat Riley actually owns that right. Now, the Packers did it twice in 1929 through 1931 when there were no playoffs and the record determined who the champion was. Green Bay did it again in 1965 to 1967. But the thing is, the latter 2 titles were the first Super Bowls. So the first one technically was still a world championship. But no team has won 3 straight Super Bowls. And no team that won 2 straight Super Bowls even made it to the Super Bowl the following season, which means already the Chiefs have already made history. And Barkley has continued his dominance in the postseason, rushing for 119 yards in the wildcard run against the Green Bay Packers, 205 yards against the LA Rams in the divisional round, then in the NFC Championship game, taking his first carry for 60 yards for a touchdown. Barkley needs 30 rushing yards in the Super Bowl to break Terrell David's record for most rushing yards in a season, including the playoffs. There's also this complaints about officiating. We didn't get here without controversy. How will that impact this game? And how about this one? If this isn't enough for you, this matchup, these logos, these franchises, the coaches, Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, and Vic Fangio versus Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, and Steve Spagnuolo. There is so much goodness in this Super Bowl. So I'll start with you, Paulie. You've seen the history that can be made in this Super Bowl if the Chiefs are able to three-peat. You've seen the dominance of Saquon Barkley in these playoffs and what he can do to cement himself with the Super Bowl win and a really good game. The refs have been impacted and are a big part of the story heading into this game. And obviously the coaching matchup. Where do you want to start off? What interests you in some of the big major headlines of Super Bowl 59?
Well, let's stick on the officiating. We got Ron Torbert working the game this time around. He worked the Super Bowl from, was that 3 years ago when the Rams defeated the Bengals? I don't remember that game being controversial, so I think maybe the game's in good hands. As far as what happened in the previous weeks leading up to this, yeah, there's always that narrative that the Chiefs get favored, but I think the NFL is just so crazy as it is. I think, you could pick any play, any game, and find something wrong with it that either gets called or doesn't get called. So, let the players play. The Chiefs are a talented team; they deserve to be there. I think we're not going to see controversies like that in this one. But then again, this is also the team, the Eagles with the tush push. So, will that factor into it and kind of some of the rules, that they've kind of manipulated over the years. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about the controversy behind that. I know with what Josh Allen looked like he crossed the plane to get the first down, and they spotted him slightly behind the line. You got to win the games. You got to be able to convert the fourth downs, and the Bills weren't able to do that. They talked about the errant flag on the field that I believe Jim Nantz was calling, and then said that there never was anything on the field. And I think the radio call might have said something along the same lines. And I wasn't there. I didn't see, or hear anything about that. That there was actually a flag on that last play. So let the players play. It should be a good one.
Dev, you've seen and heard now some of the major headlines going into Super Bowl week. Now it's going to go full force as Radio Row takes over, and we're going to hear from the coaches and the planes landing. Out of those major headlines, what has stuck to you the most? What is interesting you the most before we get to kickoff of Super Bowl 59?
The controversy here, because I don't care what Paul said. Josh Allen had that first down against any other team. He is over that line. That's a first down. He was more than over that line. And we've been seeing a lot of this with the Chiefs getting these random penalties against the other team. And I remember many years back, a couple years back, they kept saying the same thing about the Patriots. The refs were in their favor here. Do I think the NFL is rigged? No, I don't believe that BS. I'm going to swear one day. Watch. I don't believe it's going to end with the Chiefs winning. Travis Kelce announcing he's retiring, then proposing to Taylor Swift right then and there. That script is BS. But while I do think that the NFL tells the refs to get these teams that win a lot in more of these championships, absolutely here. Because let's be real here, guys. People aren't mad because, I got to watch Taylor Swift. No, the people want to either A, see the Chiefs win or see the Chiefs lose, just like they want to see the Patriots lose. And I'm seeing so damn much of that. It's getting boring, and that's why I'm not too excited for the Super Bowl here. But as you guys were saying, Saquon Barkley is more than likely going to break a record in this Super Bowl here. So I don't know, maybe that'll give us something here. But I'm going to be going to the Super Bowl with a lot of skepticism, and I hope it's going to be on Nickelodeon because I need SpongeBob to walk me through it.
Marvelous. You've seen what the talking heads, you've heard what we're discussing. What of the major headlines really has you piquing the interest of a Marvelous and a week still of Super Bowl hype?
Well, this Chiefs team has not been as dominant as some others during the regular season. They got by some games, with the luck or skill or referee's help, or whatever you want to call it. So
magic.
Magic. I think the Eagles have a really good chance in this game. I mean, after all, it hasn't been until 2018 that they won the Super Bowl with the MVP by a fellow by the name of Nick Foles, beat the Patriots and Brady. So it'd be nice to see the city of brotherly love get another Super Bowl because they've earned their way into this. I mean, that Washington team was a real tough one to take out, and they took out Green Bay too. So I mean, they've earned their right to be there. So in terms of, Barkley has been unbelievable, and if he can do what he's been doing, so far against this Kansas City defense, I think Kansas City has an excellent chance to win the game.
So what really has piqued my interest heading into the Super Bowl is the coaching matchup. Nick Sirianni being on the hot seat for most of the season, specifically early on in the season with Philadelphia, all the turmoil with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and whether or not Saquon was going to play at the end of the season. And they found a way to be the second best team with a great record in a tough division. Kellen Moore, who might be the New Orleans Saints' next head coach, who has a lot of good reputation and good vibes in the NFL, and what he has done with this offense and how they have been able to exploit the tush push on top of the running game that they have with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. And Vic Fangio, over 20 years in the NFL, first time in the Super Bowl, first chance to winning a Super Bowl, somebody who is one of the great minds on the defensive side in the NFL, beloved by a lot of teams, has a chance to do that. But on the opposite side of them, maybe the greatest coach of all time in the NFL, and Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, who is trying to revitalize his career or trying to make up what's left of it, and Steve Spagnuolo, who keeps continuously to not get a head coaching job. And as long as he doesn't, this defense will be great because he does one thing great, and that is exploit your weaknesses on offense. The coaching matchup here, so much is on the line. When you think about what happens if Andy Reid finds a way to win this Super Bowl, all the times he did it, bringing Philadelphia to an NFC championship game, taking them to a Super Bowl, going to Kansas City, matching up with Patrick Mahomes, and then dominating an entire era. That's what's on the line for him in that three-peat. And for Philadelphia, is cashing in another one on another dynasty and solidifying yourself with Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore, and Nick Sirianni as one of the top-tier coaching staffs, as that's going to get disbanded. I think the coaching matchup is just as fascinating, just as interesting as what we're going to see on the field. But we know, as great as coaches is, as great as coaches can be, as much of an impact as they can have when it comes to timeouts and the way game flow is going, players still going to have to make plays. And that's why here on the Sports Cubicle, we are going to give you the reasons why and what Kansas City and Philadelphia are going to have to do if they want to walk away Super Bowl 59 champions. Here on the Sports Cubicle, I'm your host, Mike Mercado. It's Devin Tingle. It's Paul Chivari. It's the marvelous one, Dan Marver. So I'll start off with what the Chiefs need to do to win. And I'll give you guys my quick bullets and points, and then I want to hear from the panel, everybody here around the water cooler. The defense needs to continue to stand on their head. Steve Spagnuolo's defense will have to outplay one of the best offensive lines in the league to maintain Barkley and Hurts. Make Hurts, Brown, Goddard, and Smith beat you over the top. Kansas City finished the regular season ranked 4th in scoring defense, 19.2 points per game. Also, the pass rush, which had 10 sacks combined against the Texans and the Bills this season. It's very simple for Kansas City to me for them to win this game. They're going to need their defense to carry the bulk of what this team has done all season, and that is keep it close. Keep the clock manageable, make the scoreboard in your favor. You don't have to be winning the whole game. You just got to be in the game if you're Kansas City. Paulie, what does Kansas City need to do to win Super Bowl 59?
And, I pretty much just rely on Mahomes. I mean, they've got the weapons. It doesn't matter if Kelsey's having a bad game. They still got Xavier Worthy. They still have a great rushing attack. They still have, if the field's left open and Mahomes is trying to make second chance opportunities, you got to get a 3 and out, if you're the Eagles. I know we're not there yet, but if you're Kansas City, just keep going on your game plan and try and play mistake-free football, which they've been doing. They haven't turned over the ball in a while. So, if you're Kansas City, stay the course.
Let's put a star on that Philadelphia thought, because that is the highlighted thing that we're going to talk about in just a second. But I'll go to you, Marvelous. How is Kansas City going to three-peat? What did they have to do to win Super Bowl 59?
I mean, obviously, if they execute, and as Paul just said, they have Mahomes, and it's like he has some sort of magic to win the game. So that might be enough. But the thing that's going to be interesting is how they can stop the Eagles' running game, because the Eagles' running game is the whole key to things, because it's been so prolific that makes it possible for them to be a very explosive team. I mean, they've been scoring a lot of points, and if Kansas City can't shut down the running game, then they're going to have a problem. So I think that's the big key. I mean, they've done it. I mean, their record against the run is pretty good, as you'll see. And if they can do that on Super Bowl Sunday, they will indeed win the game.
Devin, I know you've read the script already. So what are the spoilers? How would Kansas City win Super Bowl 59?
It would have to be the Kansas City Chiefs in 2025. That's essentially it. But in all seriousness, they'd have to stop the run game. Saquon Barkley, he's every year this man is like a player in Madden with how many rushes. And the year he doesn't get hurt, it's even more like this is a video game and someone's chilling with their PS5 here. The thing though is what we're seeing from Mahomes this year is he's not playing like Tom Brady 2.0. He's playing like Tom Brady 2020, 2022, 2023. Can't remember the year he retired. He's kind of messed up there.
Yeah.
But we're definitely seeing that what you said, Mar, I believe it was you, Mercado, who said they got to keep it close. And that's what the Chiefs have been doing all year. They have only scored over 30 points one time this entire season here. And the Super Bowl, most years, is a huge blowout, insanely high offense here. The Eagles have the best defense in the NFL here. And if they can, I'm sorry, how the Chiefs can win. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing right now here. We got to figure out what's going to go on here. Obviously, they're going to be studying that run game left and right because that's the thing. That's their biggest weapon. I love Jalen Hurts. He's a great quarterback. At the end of the day, the star, who's been winning, who's selling more jerseys, it's Saquon Barkley here. Granted, the Chiefs also, they have two running backs in Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt here. Both men have been putting up good numbers here, but honestly, if you are the Chiefs and everyone expects you to use Patrick Mahomes a lot, you might want to implement that run game a lot more there, as you have two running backs who are pretty damn good and at a decent age right now to not, break their backs in the process here. And let's be real here, since it's most likely that Travis Kelce is retiring at the end of this season, I'm sure they're going to try to get him at least one touchdown.
And we'll get into what we think in the games, who will catch what, who will do what in just a little bit. But you've heard what the Chiefs are going to have to do to win the Super Bowl. Let's go to the NFC champions in the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles, to me, in order to win Super Bowl 59, to stop the three-peat, and you've heard it all here before, it's not a secret. Saquon Barkley, you have to run the ball. To control the clock, here's something you need to keep an eye out. Philadelphia ranks number one in time of possession, especially this postseason, at 32 minutes in a game. Vic Fangio's defense is the other part of this. See, they need to get turnovers and not allow Mahomes to have time to make the special plays. See, Mahomes is the type of quarterback that if you need 10 yards for a first down, he'll get you 11. You need 3, he'll get you 4. You need 2, he'll get you 2.5. He is great at doing what he needs to do to keep the game on his side, to keep the drive going. But if you want to stop that, Mahomes has been sacked 36 times in the regular season, most in his career, and another 5 times in the playoffs. And they've only played 2 games so far. And finally, for Philadelphia, you got to score touchdowns. Field goals will lose you this game. You've heard from Devin. You've heard from people. Buffalo got screwed because of ball placement. Sure. But you got to beat Kansas City. They're not going to give it to you. The officials aren't going to give it to you. The Chiefs are going to give it to you. If you want to win the Super Bowl, if you want to take them out of the playoffs, you have to beat Kansas City. And if Philadelphia is going to do that, it's going to be through great defensive play, turnovers, and an awesome running game by their quarterback and their running back to keep time of possession. So let's go to you, Paulie. How did the Philadelphia Eagles win Super Bowl 59?
They have to create a turnover. They have to get a 3 and out by Kansas City. But they also have to help Saquon Barkley celebrate his 28th birthday by giving him the ball a bunch and getting him in the end zone, regardless of how it happens. So I think it's that running game, and it's trying to create pressure and turnovers against Mahomes.
It's fascinating how the formula is so simple, but it's going to be so tough for them in that game. Marver, how do Philadelphia Eagles, with all that sexy offense, beat definitively the Kansas City Chiefs at Super Bowl 59?
Ball control, keep Mahomes off the field. That would be one key. And, it's really an interesting matchup between the Fangio defense and Nagy offense. Guy that got the beer and the guy that maybe should have. But in any event, that's the way you beat Kansas City. You try to control the time because Mahomes is going to perform his magic. But I think that the Eagles will be able to control the clock a bit because their running game is so good. And, that will really help them, win the game if, in fact, they do. But I still think some magic about Kansas City in this three-peat thing that keeps hitting me.
It's going to be an interesting one. So much on the line for Kansas City when it comes to history, not just in the NFL, but in how we talk about sports in the next 20, 30 years. Devin, fly Eagles fly. How does it land with a Super Bowl? How did the Philadelphia Eagles win Super Bowl 59?
They're going to call Nick Foles and ask him to come out of retirement because he was able to beat Tom Brady. He's going to do it again with Patrick Mahomes. Maybe he has a kid. But honestly, as weird as it's going to sound to say, the Chiefs are going to be studying all the tape on Saquon Barkley, and they're going to know which direction he's going before he even takes that ball into possession here. You need to get Jalen Hurts to kind of do more of that passing game, which we know he is capable of. As I was talking with Paul earlier last week about, I don't know why people seem to make fun of and laugh about Jalen Hurts and all the hate on him and how it's like, oh, Jalen Hurts is he's this fake quarterback. He's not nearly as good as people think he is. I'm like, I disagree there. And that's where I feel this team has to go here. They got to really work on that passing offense here. And again, like you're saying, hold on to that possession here. But then we all know Patrick Mahomes likes to act quickly and be a machine here. But if you can give him less time with that ball, it doesn't matter who the referee is there. They can only work so much this dark magic, as Marver's talking about.
2-minute warning here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari, the marvelous one, Dan Marver, in a marvelous Super Bowl matchup. Let's get to what everybody's here for. Super Bowl 59 on Sunday, February 9th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. right here in Chicago at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. It is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs on Fox with a point spread of Chiefs minus 1.5 and an over-under of 49.5 total points. The money line is Chiefs minus 125 and the Eagles at plus 105. Let's put everybody in rapid fire predictions. I'll start with you, Paulie. Saquon Barkley over-under 100.5 yards rushing.
I'll say under. I mean, that's 100 is a lot of yards. I know we were just saying that Barkley is a prolific running back and is having a great season, but I just find it hard that he's going to be able to be that successful in this game. And that's just based on my prediction. You know, if the Eagles are successful, it will be because he got 100 yards plus and got in the end zone a few times, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
His numbers are crazy. On the odds are so bad. There's no juice in it. Stay away from it. But for fun's sake, Devin, Barkley over under 100.5 yards rushing for Barkley.
I'm going to say under, which is a little painful to say because, like I said, he is a Madden character, but I don't think he's going to be three-peating his 103 games over 100 yards.
Marver, over under 100.5 rushing yards for Saquon Barkley.
I believe that he's going to eclipse that, but very, very barely.
I agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I think Barkley is over. Travis Kelce, for all you Swifties, Travis Kelce over under 1.5 touchdowns. Devin.
I'm going to say under because I see him getting at least one touchdown. And honestly, that's Mahomes' favorite weapon. If you think Philadelphia is going to make it easy to throw to him, your insert Taylor Swift title about dreaming.
Paulie, over under 1.5 touchdowns for Travis Kelce.
Under. It's going to be one or none. And I have some other Kelce stuff coming up later that I'll predict.
What do we have? Marver, over under 1.5 touchdowns for Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I'll go with just one touchdown for Kelce.
I'm going to go over. It is the swan song. He is getting 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, over under 200.5 passing yards. I am going to go under. What do you got, Devin? Over under 200.5 passing yards for Jalen Hurts.
I'm going to say over. It might not be by much, but if they want to win, they're going to have to implement this passing game because it's been the rushing game for the Eagles all year. You got to try something different. You have the quarterback in to do it. You're not going in with Rex Grossman like someone in Chicago did.
Marver, over under 200.5 passing yards for Jalen Hurts.
Since Barkley's going to have over 100, I believe that Hurts is going to have under 200.
I am going under as well. Paulie, who do you have over under 200.5 passing yards for Jalen Hurts?
Under, and if my numbers are correct, I think 9 out of 20 this year he was able to get 200 or over, so the odds don't favor him.
Yeah. And speaking of odds, Patrick Mahomes over under 250.5 passing yards. I'm going to go over 250. Devin.
I'm going to say under at this point because, quite frankly, they're going to have to hold possession of the ball. Eagles, obviously. I'm going to switch it to over, actually, now that I thought about this, because Mahomes is going to have to fire in rapid fire here, and he can march down the field like a machine, so he'll be over.
Marver, over under 250.5 for Patrick Mahomes.
I was wavering too, over.
What do you got, Paulie?
I'll go over. I just don't see him being below 250. And if he is, it'll be close to 250.
All right, Paulie, before we do the official picks, any last minute props that you like that you want to do here or you want to save for later on?
No, I got one.
Yeah.
You guys call me out if you think this is dumb, but Isaiah Pacheco, anytime touchdown scorer, I got plus 265 on it. I think that's probably a smart bet right there. At least something that might get you a bigger payout than some of the softball ones. So I wanted to point out that one. And then a couple of things. If the Chiefs win, it'll be the team with the worst against the spread record in a season all time. They're 8-11 against the spread going into this one. And I think the line's at -1.5. So, if they win, that makes them 9-11 and still the worst. If since 2007, underdogs are 10-7 outright and 12-5 against the spread. And the Eagles are 13-7 this year against the spread, as giving them 1.5. So do what you want with that information. But I thought that would be interesting if the Chiefs won.
I am going, and I am putting a lot of juice on Dallas Goedert in this game. I am going anytime touchdown with Dallas Goedert. I'm going over on catches, and I'm going over on yards. I think if there is somewhere that Kansas City has a weakness with this Philadelphia offense, and you're looking for some juice, look at Dallas Goedert now before it gets late when everybody starts putting love into the tight end position.
Especially if you get that parlay too with both the yards and the receptions, that could work out well for you.
Mm-hmm. And it's all out of plays. There's a lot of excitement because there's a lot of excitement and juice in this matchup. And it is time. Super Bowl 59 on Sunday, February 9th. The NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, a chance for history for both teams. Who wins? What's the score? And the MVP? I will start with Paul Chivari.
Chiefs win 35-26. Patrick Mahomes will be the MVP. And this is also going to be in New Orleans, the site where Joe Horn once pulled his cell phone out from underneath the goalposts. And I think Travis Kelce in his final game in the three-peat will meet his girlfriend on the field and pull an engagement ring out from under the goalposts and propose to her.
I like that. There's a lot of juice in that one. Marver, who wins Super Bowl 59? What's the score and the MVP?
Field goal should do it. 31-28 Chiefs. And how can you go against the man, Patrick Mahomes, MVP?
Devin, what's the script say? Who wins Super Bowl 59? What's the score and who's the MVP?
I mean, it's so hard to go against the Chiefs in a Super Bowl, just like it was hard to bet against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I do think it's going to be close, but come on, Paul, they had one game over 30. Get your head out of your you-know-what here. I think I'm agree with Marver. I'm going to go 24-21 Chiefs.
Over 30?
It's going to be, I believe it's going to be by a field goal because, of course, Harrison Buckner is going to, and the Kansas City Chiefs will have the McDonald's buffet at the White House.
I believe Super Bowl 59 will. Let me start it this way. I refuse to be early on the demise of Patrick Mahomes. I learned my lessons with Tom Brady. I will be late on that train. For all you Eagles fans listening that think we're stupid, first, you're right. But if you're looking at how the Eagles are going to win, if the Eagles win Super Bowl 59, it's going to be a blowout. They're going to steamroll the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you're a Philadelphia fan, it's going to be a nice night for you. It's going to be an easy night for you. You're going to celebrate and be degenerates like you are, and we love it. So enjoy if the Eagles win it. But
they'll do that to lose.
Reality is 27-24. Kansas City wins the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is your MVP. They're going to trademark their own version of three-peats, and there won't be an engagement. It'll be a retirement for Travis Kelce. But that is the spectacular Super Bowl preview, breakdown, and prediction here on the Sports Cubicle. We still have a jam-packed edition of the show. We want to thank you so much for joining us this entire NFL season, whether we're talking about the big NFL or here locally with the Chicago Bears, and for our boy Paulie, the Las Vegas Raiders. Thank you guys so much. We'll be talking about post Super Bowl next time we talk NFL. But until then, enjoy the lead up to the big game. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Enjoy the rest of the edition of the Sports Cubicle. For the marvelous one, Dan Marver. For Paul Chivari, the best executive producer. And for the best technical producer, Devin Tingle, I'm your host, Mike Mercado. Enjoy Super Bowl 59.